How many of these guys did Operation Pineapple help?
So it's always hard to put numbers on that, but we think somewhere between 750 and 1,000.
That many?
Yep.
That many
Yep.
people?
I mean, directly, and I think more than that indirectly. And there were groups that did a lot more, than that. In fact, Mick Mulroy worked at the agency as well, and I think now he works at one of the news organizations. He told me in an interview, he said he had a kind of a grand view of everything. He said that of the 100,000 Afghans that made it here, a large chunk of them probably shouldn't have, were not vetted.
Yeah.
But the ones who were, a very large percentage of them were made possible by these volunteer groups because we knew who they were, we knew where they were, and they trusted us. And so if you're a Marine,
That's amazing, but it's also pathetic that you guys were able to outdo the U.S. government and helping these people. It's sorry.
oh, it's crazy, brother. And the thing was, like, so after we got Nizam out, we realized that we were running out of time. You know, there was an imminent departure that had already been announced. We knew ISIS was in the crowd. Like, there was all kinds of rumblings of an ISIS suicide bomber attack. And so we knew we were on borrowed time to get as many out as we could. And getting Nizam out the way that we did took 4 days of planning and execution. We hadn't slept, and I was like, there's no way, so when Nizam got out, people heard about it. SEALs like Jay Redmond and others were like, hey, I'm working this family. And so we just opened the aperture on the Signal chat room, called it Task Force Pineapple, because that was the code word that Nizam had to give to get through. And that's how Task Force Pineapple was born. But it was just a Signal chat room of these various former special operators who had partners that were commandos that they were working, or SF. And so we would collaborate in the main chat room. We would share information about which gate was open, closed, intel coming in. And then Jay, for example, would go to his Afghan family and say, okay, we're moving you here. And they were tactically trained, so they knew how to move tactically with their family. But we didn't have a mechanism, Shawn, to get large numbers in. And that's what I was asking the younger leaders in our group, like, does anybody have any ideas? This one guy named Zach, Green Beret, former Green Beret turned Syracuse inner city school teacher that we met on LinkedIn, who was helping his SF partners. He goes, I have an idea, but I need somebody on the inside. And I was like, well, what's your idea? And he goes, well, in my classrooms, I have a lot of inner city kids that come from other countries, and we talk a lot about Harriet Tubman. And Harriet Tubman, she settled in this area after she retired, and I think we could build an underground railroad to get these people out. He goes, there's a sewage system that, an open sewer right there, and if we had someone on the inside, we could use our shepherds, as we called them, guys like Jay Redmond and others who were the volunteers working on their phones. They could be the eyes and ears and guide their flocks of commandos and their families to a certain point, and then they could be pulled in. But we didn't have anybody on the inside until Congressman Waltz's assistant connected us with Jesse and John from the 82nd Airborne, who had helped rescue a pregnant woman inside the airfield the day prior, and said, we have a 4-foot hole in the fence that's been cut. And if we can do more and you guys can vet them on your side, you let us know. And so Liv offered that, and we were like, okay. So we put Captain John Folta from the 82nd on the phone with Zach. They started talking, and we decided they would become the conductors on the Underground Railroad. So the way it would work is, if you were a commando, you would get instructions from your shepherd who would say, you are to report to this link-up site at this point near Abbey Gate at this time, under cover of darkness. Then we would send all of the information on a baseball card, photos of the family, number and party, names, to John and Jesse in the 82nd. They would have those baseball cards on their phone. At designated time, when the Pineapple Express was open, they would walk out to the link-up point with a green chem light on, and then the flock that was in the queue would get instructions to move into the link-up mechanism. They would drop down into an open sewage canal, move through that to the green chem light, and then they would show the pineapple on their phone, challenge and password, check the baseball card, get pulled through the 4-foot hole, driven across the airfield onto the aircraft.
Fucking amazing. Amazing.
And that was the Pineapple Express. And what I have to tell you is, like, I had nothing to do with that shit. That was these junior leaders, junior leaders, that's not the right term. Younger guys like Zach and John and Jesse, who they just came up with this stuff. And I found that in my old age, one of the things about leadership is knowing when to get out of the way. And these guys, they had a plan, and it was a beautiful plan. And so that's what we did. We just turned the heat up on that, and for 96 hours, that's how the Pineapple Express rolled.
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.